All statements and opinions expressed by guests of the Adult in the Room podcast are strictly their own and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or opinions of the host, producers, or advertisers. All interviews are presented in their most complete possible form in the interests of free speech. No statements should be interpreted as financial, legal, or medical advice. Listener and viewer discretion are strongly advised.
It's the Adult in the Room podcast with Victoria Taft. That's me.
Well, welcome to the Adult in the Room podcast. I'm Victoria Taft. Hey, you're going to love this. I got all my notes out of order. So that's just what live programming is like. That's just what happens, man. It's just what happens all the time. How are you doing? Today we're going to talk a lot about, just be honest, really, about how disorder, chaos, and bad leadership robs you of your peace, robs you of your ability to enjoy life to its fullest in many respects, civilly, certainly, civically, certainly, because of bad leadership, bad law. Why is it that some people in positions of authority decide that, let's do this. Let us place all of our support behind people who may not be able to be legally here, or people who decide that they're going to break the civic contract and commit crimes against other people. I mean, these are the kinds of decisions that lawmakers and mayors and people like that make every single day, and they all impact you. And it's all part of government corruption. It's not necessarily endemic to government. It is endemic to one political party, I'm finding. And of course, I'm a conservative. Okay, so, I'm always looking for, I'm looking for it, but I don't have to look too hard because it finds me. It finds me to it. The corruption files. We're going to do this every once in a while on the Adult in the Room podcast, the corruption files. Now, why do I say that? I say that because people misuse their jobs to make your life more miserable. And by that, I don't mean, they said something or did something with which I disagree. No, it's not that simple, man. It's like they make a deal and they say, you know what, we are going to, irrespective of what the voters want, make a decision, make a choice. And we're going to say, okay, we, in the case of the left and in Los Angeles, for example, where we begin our journey in public corruption, they make these decisions to side with people other than the people legally able to hire them, i.e. vote for them. I mean, it's unfair. It's beyond unfair. It's beyond that. It's corrupt. It's corrupt. Throwing their eggs in somebody else's basket and you're going, dude, I paid for the basket. What? I paid for this basket. My taxes went in there. Oh, sorry. Sucks to be you, doesn't it? I have a driver. I have a, security team. I've got a fancy office. I got a cool house with all the money I'm making for triple dipping on I'm thinking of Karen Bass, on her, her communist trip through life. And, how is it that the commies around here, people, democratic socialists, please, they're commies. Why is it that they always end up with like a couple of different mansions? That BLM chick and Karen Bass probably has a nice house. Not that I don't say that she shouldn't have a nice house. I'm just saying that it's just so ironic that people who sort of hold themselves out as we're, power to the people, poverty, we're going to help all those people. They always end up being the millionaires and billionaires. How does that happen? Well, that's because when you're in power, you arrogate all the good stuff, all the goodies to yourself, and people like you because you're the good guys. You're the good guys. You make good decisions. You are for the people. You're not greedy. It's those other people who are greedy. So we find ourselves in a very, very difficult spot right now. And what's interesting is that Americans are seeing a stark difference between what Donald Trump is doing and others like him, and what the Democrats are doing and others like them. On one side, there's disorder and chaos and the choice of other people other than the people over whom they're supposed to lead, right? And then on the other hand, it's like, okay, we actually believe in law and order. There is a contract. There is a system by which we rule ourselves. That's order. There are laws that we've enforced, or we haven't enforced, maybe, depending on where you are. And that all adds up to a decision that leaders have made. They've made the choice. We're going to have order or we're going to have chaos. Hence, we bring ourselves over to Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, what they've done is they've gotten very, very, very angry. They're very angry at the U.S. Border Patrol and ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement folks, who are otherwise known as the ERO. Those are the people who go in and look for people who are not supposed to be in this country illegally, and or who have their criminal complaints against them. In this case, in today's case, this lady here is getting busted. This is TikTok Tatiana. Oh my. This is, here's your, God, it looks terrible, doesn't it? Have you ever noticed that when you get arrested and you resist arrest, it always looks really, really bad? It always makes the cops look like, oh, they're such terrible people. And sometimes, you know what? I don't throw all my eggs in that basket. There are some bad cops out there. This is not an example of that, however. This is not an example of that. So here we have TikTok Tatiana. Is it Tatiana? Whatever. Tatiana or something. Anyway, she's from Colombia. She's gotten a DUI. She was convicted of DUI, and Joe Biden let her off. Well, Karen Bass probably helped too. Startling, right? California, the city of LA, is a sanctuary city. And what that means is anybody who's a criminal has sanctuary in that city. And if you're in LA and you're trying to get to Hollywood or parts of Los Angeles where they have sanctuary status, you're not safe. You're not as safe as you would be if you were, let's say, in Bel Air, where they're not a sanctuary. Sure, the entire state's sort of sanctuary-esque, but other places have made decisions not to do that, to double down on that. Be that as it may. If you're going to get arrested, I can well understand why Tatiana is very upset. I mean, I would be upset if guys with guns who have police on their shirts and their vests came and got me. I'd be really freaked out. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Would I resist arrest? Not unless I wanted to get shot. No, so you don't resist arrest unless you want to get shot. Okay, keep going. Here we go with Tatiana's arrest, and I'll tell you what else she's done in her life in the United States in a moment. Okay, I beg your pardon. We're going to see the inside of the police car. It looks like it's going to be one of those shoulder cams by the cops, or it could be from her phone, because Tatiana is a TikTok influencer. And her raison d'etre, she said in very bad French, was to tell everyone where the ICE agents are. However, apparently neglected to foretell her own bust. Be that as it may. So the busty woman who wears few clothes, and those that she does wear are painted on practically, she would go on and dox the ICE agents. And she doxed the personal ICE agents. And her whole TikTok is, filled with sexy shots and, hey, here's the ICE guys. Here's where they are. And go get them, go surround them, go make their lives difficult. And that's what's going on. This whole agent provocateur situation that she was pulling off on her TikTok account did not go over well with ICE. And you're not going to believe this, but she had a lot of viewers. She had like 40,000 followers when she was busted. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be amazing when she gets back to Colombia. I hope they have really good cell service there. Do you suppose the cartels have purchased cell service for, sir? Anyway, I mean, there's a little thought bubble just right out here. Anyway, Tatiana, she's getting busted, and then she realizes, oh, heck, man, I'm going to pull the old George Floyd thing. I can't breathe. This is the inside. She tells him no, and then she says, espérense, which means wait. I'm sure I said it wrong.
No, güey. No, espérate. Espérate, me voy a dejar, pero espérate. Espérate.
Wait. Oh, and then she starts screaming.
Espérate. Me voy a dejar, pero espérate. Espérate. Me voy a dejar, pero espérate.
You know, it doesn't matter what language you speak. They all sound the same, don't they? All these crazy leftists. You know, it's always like, I'm sure that, you know, we have Karens on our side. People might look at me and go, oh, she's a Karen, but I'm not. I'm really a live and let live kind of guy. And it's one of the reasons why I think law and order make a difference. They are important. The social contract is important. Rules of the road are important. So she couldn't breathe, she said. And then, woo, here we go, a little bit more. So they sent an ambulance for her. I know. This is exciting. I guess I could sort of move it up a little bit so we can get Tatiana being sent out on a gurney. And she went to the hospital, and then she was proclaimed okay. And then she was good. You know, she was well enough to go to the ICE holding facilities where she's awaiting deportation. Now, why do I bring this up? Oh, there are a variety of reasons, but they've made their choice in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, to side with people who are not supposed to be there. Indeed, what they do is, as I mentioned before on the basket situation, hey, man, why do I have to pay for people who aren't even like supposed to be here? What is that about? And it's fundamentally unfair, and it's a bad decision, frankly. Oh, well, we're such good people. The government is charity. We are going to let everyone in. We are going to remove all barriers from our country because barriers are evil. Jesus wouldn't want barriers. Right. Okay. Jesus wouldn't want barriers. Come on. You listening to yourself? Israel had barriers. I'm pretty sure he knew about them. Anyway, so here's my fun thing here. So I've written several stories about Tatiana, TikTok Tatiana, and something sort of jumped out at me. ICE Doxers busted while live streaming. She was live streaming. She was live streaming like we're doing right now. It'd be like if ICE came here and like, you know. So she's in her Tesla because life's been very, very good to her. She's been here since 2022 when Joe Biden opened the borders. And she's been building her TikTok base, telling everybody recently where all the ICE agents are and defining who they are and where they can be found on a variety of levels. Okay. Something else happened. Here's Tatiana. Her wig came off, by the way. She's a very pretty girl, a very young woman, and she wears a wig. Some people can pull them off. She's not quite successful at it. But anyway, it was really unsuccessful, it turns out, because her wig flew off during the arrest, which I'm sure glue, Tatiana. Apparently it's glue for that. So, but be that as it may, that's what happened to her. Okay, so here's what happened. When Tatiana was doing, which I realized that I'm not even showing this. I'm supposed to be showing you something, and I just didn't even do it. I'm not even on my share my screen thing. Good Lord. Hold on here. Stand by. Stand by to stand by. Share screen. Share screen. And yes, share screen. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Derp. Here we go. There we go. So here's Tatiana. She's, one part, she's all, has anyone looked to see if she's got an OnlyFans? Okay, be that as, she may have one, but maybe I'll let her do it in Colombia when she goes back. So here she is. She's talking in her car at the time. You saw it in the video. And then she gets busted by the cops, the feds. So that's what happened. And then what happened was they took the ICE car. A tow truck showed up and took the ICE car, or the vehicle, that had lights flashing, the blue and the red ones, that says, hey, it's a cop. Well, they didn't care. That's how that looked. That's a still shot of what the situation was. Here's the ICE car, and there's the tow truck right behind it. It's a white tow truck. Some people think it might be a City of LA one. It's entirely possible that's what happened. Here we go. Potty talk. See the lights going? Okay. Here's something interesting about this video, and somebody shot it. I don't know who shot it. It's not on Mimeo. But now look at this. I mean, they go to great pains not to show anything that would identify the tow truck. How do you like them apples? Pretty interesting. Okay. So they did that. So that could not have been a coincidence, right? That couldn't have been so moi, got in touch with DHS, and I called our media person. I go, hey, there was your ICE vehicle was like stolen. And they came back, and in a story I wrote for PJ Media, because that's the thing I write for, I wrote over here, we find out that not only did the guy steal it, he was laughing and mocking the cops when he did. That's just this. I have to put, you know what? I have to say, this is not that tow truck, but I will say that it's so hard to find visuals you can use in publications, because everything has, rights and all that stuff. And everything has to be Associated Press. And but I don't have the right picture to put on this story. Oh no, sorry. You just got to find something else. And when you see a weird photo, you'll go, that's why. So I got this memo back from, I'll show you that one in a second. So here's on August 15th, ICE arrested Lady Tatiana Mafla Martinez, a criminal illegal alien from Colombia who was convicted for driving under the influence in Los Angeles. Criminal illegal alien entered the country in 2022 and was released by the Biden administration. Now, remember, she was convicted of DUI. During her arrest, she claimed to experience shortness of breath. She was given proper medical treatment and will be held in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. Now, that means Tatiana, TikTok Tatiana, is going to be sent home. Okay, during the arrest, this is where we have the exclusive part of the story, because nobody else had this. I kept looking for it. And I go, dang, I guess I got myself an exclusive. During the arrest, an individual unlawfully towed a government police vehicle. He mocked and videotaped ICE officers chasing after him. Secretary Noem has been clear. Anyone who seeks to impede law enforcement will be found and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So, yeah, he was mocking the cops, and it's not the first time that's happened. Indeed, there have been lots of reports of this. So this is just the little rebellion. You might think that they're perfectly oh, it's perfectly fine for them to do this, to go, attaboy, against the cops. And, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to take your car. I mean, it's theft, right? It's fraud. It's theft and not fraud, but it is theft. Okay, fine. And then you're interfering with a police officer. You're interfering with a federal agent. And do you know what that means? That's 5 years. That's 5. They find that tow truck driver, and they will. And they will. They're going to get that guy's going down. Bill Asaley, who's the U.S. Attorney in that part of Los Angeles, he's going to indict him. That's what's going to happen there. Okay. So this has happened before, as I said, and it continues to happen. And so this is funny because the media have fact-checked the claim that tow trucks are following ICE agents to their busts and towing their cars. That is not true, say the fact checks. The fact checks only fact check one word: following. They're not following. No, we didn't follow anybody. Happened in Oxnard. I'll show you that vid. Oh, I do have it. But they only fact-checked if they were following. They don't have to follow the ICE agents. There are apps on the phone. There are all kinds of apps that tell everybody where the ICE agents are. TikTok Tatiana is also live streaming it. And I'm sure they didn't like that either. Here we go. Here's another one.
The newest tactic to harass ICE agents is towing their vehicles while they're in the middle of detaining someone.
Look at this.
Yeah, you heard that right. This is disgusting. Y'all check this video out.
So apparently there's a bunch of tow truck drivers in LA and around where ICE is raiding, and they're following around the ICE vehicles. And the ICE vehicles are often parking illegally so that they can go, kidnap people and drag them into their cars. So the tow truck drivers are following them, and the minute that they park, the tow trucks are towing.
Okay, so the first guy is a guy who's online. I've got him in my stories attributed for this information, and he's a right-leaning guy. And then the second one is a chick cheering this on. And then there's another video I took that we're not going to have time to see today, but it's just like people are loving it. This is the best thing ever since May, and intensified in June. During the ICE riots in LA, they're going, hey, this is fantastic. Let's just tow the trucks. And it was a thing. And when it started happening, the mainstream media went, oh, no, that's not happening. Your eyes deceive you. And everyone's going, wait, I swear, that guy just took the car. Okay, and the ICE agents are like, hey, man, blah, blah, following him. So anyway, I sent another request from DHS, and I said, so, okay, all right. Did you find the car? Where'd they take the car? Was it a city of LA car or tow truck that took the cars? There is one allegation out there that I cannot confirm that says so. So, yeah, I'm just looking at my phone. I haven't gotten a reply back yet. Stand by. Let me just double check. Nope. I sent it. I'm serious. I sent it like 4:00 this morning. So they get it first thing. So apparently not. Okay. So people, on one hand, there are people like, this looks really, really bad. But they never, for whatever reason, think about how uncharitable and dangerous and bad for us it was to let literally millions of people, strangers. You don't invite strangers to your house. Joe Biden invited Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS guy, Department of Homeland Security? Is that what you call yourself? The director? They let millions of people in. I mean, no one ever stops and says, hey, man, that's really rude. Why are you endangering the rest of us with your bad leadership, your bad practices? Kamala Harris was the so-called border czar, the czarina. I think she just liked the title, but she never went to the border. She never did anything because she thought, oh, Alejandro, he's just letting everybody in. And that's what he did. And that's what they did. And so no, you never get an opportunity to say, hey, man, why are you letting all of these strangers in? I don't know who they are. I mean, it's like that guy, the Sikh truck driver, where he got a driver's license in California. And it wasn't just a driver's license, it was a commercial driver's license. And then he's driving all over the country and he ends up killing a bunch of people. So not good. We depend on sort of the rules of the road being the same for everybody. Not all, we have states, but good Lord, you deserve to have peace, not chaos, not confusion. You deserve it. So once again, we have a fundamental unfair dichotomy between those people who stand on the right side of the law and want just to be left alone, or they just want to have laws obeyed and just stay out of my way and that sort of thing. But no, in Portland, they don't let that happen. So here we go for LA. We're going to Portland. We're going elsewhere after this, going to DC after this. And in Portland, what they've done is they have there's so much wrong with this story. Antifa's at it again. Trying to do another Summer of Love. Okay, here we go. And here we have a woman who has had it up to actually well above her head with Antifa using fireworks, munitions, fire, screeching. They're, hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey. One of these days they'll get a new chant, but why would they? This one works so well and everyone knows it. Have you ever seen one of those videos where they try to teach the crowd what the chants are going to be for their riot and or their protest? That's hilarious. Go look it up sometimes. Okay, now this one, and remember, spirit hands. I'm sorry. Oh, girl. Okay, anyway. So we're in Portland because everything crazy is happening in Portland, and the leadership of the city has sided with chaos and law breaking. That would be Antifa and all the stuff they're doing at the ICE building. And what do the ICE agents do? Well, they go, okay, we got to back these dudes off. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our less than lethal, flash bangs and whatever. And so that's what's going on. This lady that you're about to see here, total potty mouth. She said, this lady, God bless her, took the city to court. And she took the city to court to get these guys to shut up.
Midnight! I will turn it down. I would love to. You just have to ask me, and I'm being nice even though you're screaming at me. You! I'm going back every night. I'm destroying and wrecking your turn it down! We the people need sleep!
There's lots of potty talk here. Let me show you something though. I'll turn her down a little bit so that Alex doesn't get too freaked out here. She continues across the street. Katie Daviscourt has taken this video on her excellent X timeline. And this gal says, oh, well, she tries to de-escalate this. They've been taught so-called de-escalation, which actually almost got a guy killed one time. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now, I just want you to watch this. Look at these dudes following her, sort of menacing her, corralling her. Look at those people following her. I mean, they're doing that on purpose. They're intimidating her. They're attempting to intimidate her. She lives where she's going over to this apartment building. She wants to be left alone. We, the people, have a right to sleep, she says, every night. So she's all upset. That dude, I don't know who that guy is. Anyway, so she bringing this lawsuit. She was, City of Portland, why don't you do this? Why don't you enforce your noise ordinances? Why don't you do that? Because if you do that, I can sleep, and everyone in my building can sleep. And it's very interesting. So Katie Daviscourt, excellent timeline. She helped. This woman's name is Cloud Elvin Grails, and she sued the city of Portland. It went to trial. She filed a writ of mandamus saying, hey, show me. Well, show me what's going on here. How come you're not enforcing the laws? Fair enough. Fair enough. And I just did that again. I just sort of assume everything's going to be on the, here we go. I'll get the hang of it. So she's talking about this woman, Cloud Elvin Grail, and her lawsuit forcing the city to please enforce your noise ordinances. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. The city sided with Antifa. And I'm not done. The city sided with Antifa, and the city sided against the citizens who want law and order and no chaos at the ICE facility. Also, I don't know if you caught it, but there's a tent city across the street from the ICE facility on the lawn of a guy with an apartment there, and he says they can stay there as long as he wants. And so they actually had testimony from an Antifa guy who said, we're not leaving. Yeah, screw you. We're not leaving. This is in court. The city top cop goes to court. Well, got to do it. I mean, we're going to side. We're not going to force anything. That's it. That's what we're not. An attorney, former lawmaker in the state of Oregon, reveals that there is evidence that the city has stand down orders, then the cops are told to stand down and not go after ICE. So here we go. Once again, I'm going to bring back my documents here. Portland, Oregon. A judge has ruled in favor of the city of Portland in a lawsuit over loud noises from protests outside of the ICE facility. The lawsuit was an attempt to force the city to enforce its noise ordinance against protesters. Small group of protesters outside that facility have been out there for over 2 months, and every night it's a doggone, yelling fest, chanting, whatever. The lawsuit, filed on behalf of a low-income resident, that's a Cloud, near the Portland ICE facility, claims all the commotion from the protests has been keeping her up nights for weeks. Now watch. The lawsuit asked the county judge to force the city to enforce its noise ordinance. The court concluded that it would not grant our motion, said Thomas Rask, an attorney. Rask is one of the lawyers who filed the lawsuit. He told KATU, the judge felt they had not met the high legal bar that would allow her to compel the city to take action. So this city and others like it in the United States have made the decision that, sucks to be you, man. We're going to hang with Antifa here. We're going to do that. Court was very sympathetic to what was going on, but you know what? In the end, sorry, sucks to be you. Rask and his co-counsel, Julie Parrish, who just got her law degree a couple of years ago and has been killing it in the legal profession. She's the former lawmaker, good person. She said, well, the lack of action is a decision. It is a political decision. They do not want to be seen as coordinating with ICE, she said, but that doesn't mean they can't go, deal with trespass and deal with noise and deal with the vehicular noise, she said. And then she shared a Portland Police Bureau activity log that was submitted as evidence in the case. And here's what it said. At the end of the log, PPB, Portland Police Bureau, writes, if it were not ICE, we could assist directly. So your peace of mind, your ability to have quiet, be left alone, is being ignored because they don't want to deal with ICE, because they don't like ICE. Isn't that something? That's amazing, actually. That's amazing. Multiple people have been attacked at that scene. Multiple people have been attacked. And then I'm going to tell you something else. Here's another one of my stories I wrote about, and here's the hard truth. Antifa drives out school And you know who the school blamed? ICE, for the loud noises that are made by Antifa. They get responding stuff occasionally from ICE, but it's all ICE's fault. You know, if ICE weren't there, it's like they said in 2017 and then, in 2020 and all the times when they've just gotten on their high horse in Antifa and decided to go destroy things in Portland. They say, oh, if they weren't here, we wouldn't have to be violent. That's not a thing, okay? Your behavior is not necessarily done at the behest of somebody else's actions. Actually, that you weren't even doing anything. You decided to leave your home and come down and be violent. So anyway, here's the story about the Cottonwood School of Civics. Really? Civics and Science doesn't blame Antifa for its month-long assaults using munitions and fireworks at the nearby Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office. It blames the use of munitions like tear gas from federal agents. So this school is moving because of all the noise. The noise that the city of Portland said, oh, sucks to be you, can't help you. Not doing that. Honest to goodness, that is just remarkable. Does that make sense to you? This is a decision. This is a decision, a conscious decision by these leftists in this government to ignore the rights, if you will, the freedoms and the values and everything else these people would like to observe and to claim peace. They do it against you. They do it against you. But institutional Portland, institutional LA, institutional Chicago, institutional DC, institutional Denver, and all these several cities that are from around the country that have declared themselves to be sanctuaries, hiding illegal aliens, throwing their lot in with Antifa, I guess. It sounds like that's Portland's the tip of the spear for that anarchy. They've all been put on notice. And they've been put on notice by Pam Bondi, who sent letters to these guys and said, yeah, you know what? We're going to have to send you a strongly worded letter. I've just got to find it. There we go. And sanctuary jurisdiction list following Executive Order 14287. She sent letters to the following cities to knock this crap off. The states, California, these are the states that have sanctuary laws. They listed District of Columbia as a state. It is not. It is most definitely not. By design, by the founders, be that as it may, we got Vermont, Washington, Rhode Island, Oregon, New York, Nevada, Illinois, DC, Delaware, California, Colorado, Connecticut. Okay. All the worst run counties. Even San Diego. San Diego was gone to the dogs as a result of the left getting a toehold. And I blame the last, actually, I blame Kevin Faulconer for that. Going in, someday I'll explain it, but he made a decision. A Republican made a decision. I think I'll just go a leftist light. And it was the toehold they needed. They just got everything going. And once you get into one part of the law, then you can force people to bow to your will in other parts of their lives. So anyway, cities. So here are all the cities that are sanctuary cities. And of course, you got Los Angeles and Portland. And I'm sure DC's on the list, even though DC's listed as a state. Fine. So she sent him a howler, said, knock that stuff off. What do you think you're doing? How dare you? How dare you? And so that's just another way in which they rob you. They choose people doing the wrong thing every single time. Why? They use your money. They got nothing, by the way. The only way they have money to spend is yours. It's your money. I don't know if I've ever pointed out the observation before that a lot of leftists believe that sort of almost ruined the ability of the church to get a foothold and do all the things it's always done. Help the homeless, help with the fostering kids and all sorts of things. I mean, there are just things that, and they've just arrogated those things that the church has done over the decades and the hundreds of years, and they've taken it up as a cause for government. And they believe that they should live out their beliefs and that they should act as a charity on your behalf by taking your money and giving it out as they see fit. And that's not the way. That ain't the way, man. It's just not. So that's what they're doing. So here we're going to go to D.C., where President Trump has started his, you know what? We got to do something about the homeless, the hot and cold running homeless people. We got to get all of these things. We're going in with ICE, the feds, National Guard, everybody. We are plussing up all of the federal forces there, and we're going to get a handle on the illegality. We're going to get a handle on the fact that people are scared in their own city. We're going to get a handle on the fact that these people who've been placed in power, yes, by the voters, have decided that, you know what, you voter, you don't even really matter anymore after you voted for us. We don't think that much of you. We actually know better than you do, and we are in charge, and you don't matter anymore. We just want your money. Could you just give me your money? Give me your money. Give me your money. So we talked to you last Thursday with Kevin Dahlberg about the EO, the executive order from President Trump, and how it really works. I mean, all the stuff that he says in his homelessness and let's get law and order on the streets of the city, all that stuff. Well, he's doing all that in D.C. because he has 30 days to do it under the tenets of the Home Rule Act passed by Congress. That's the only reason they have a mayor is because Congress said, well, I guess they can vote for a mayor. That sounds fair. Well, you know, who do you keep getting? These dorks. I mean, Marion Barry at the Million Man March. How did he get a ticket? And, you know, geez. Anyway, so you get people who, they're leftists. Let's face it, they're leftists. And so what's happening in D.C.? They give the homeless a choice. You can get clean and we'll put you in a program. Or if you don't want to, you can go in a shelter, but you have to be clean. Or failing that, if you don't want to do either of those things, you have to go to jail. I mean, it's pretty simple. They have a choice. They can choose not to, or they can leave. Okay. That sounds fair to me. Do you know, when you're paid to be homeless, when you're indulged, when you're allowed to take your drugs on the street, which 80% of the people who are quote unquote homeless are just addicts. They just want to get high and get free food and sleep somewhere that nobody cares about. Okay, fine. I don't agree with that, but that's really the reality on the street. So now he's only been doing this for a couple of days. Trump just took over. All of a sudden, people are like, wait a minute, hold on. This is the safest I've ever seen it. Trump wants them to see how safe their city is supposed to be and can compare and contrast to what was going on before he took over.
Trump for cleaning up D.C., cleaning up the nation's capital. And I think it's crazy, especially if you're a DMV native. When we go out and do things, we typically go to D.C. We all have seen some BS in D.C. I've lost friends to gun violence in D.C. I've been out partying and heard gunshots in D.C. Then you go somewhere like the Wharf to the Felipe Chow and people getting robbed at Felipe Chow. And I can continue, but I ain't really trying to go there today. But it ain't safe, and you can't even really enjoy yourself, man. Oh, one more. They said the Capital One Arena is the most dangerous arena in the country. And if you've been down there in Gallery Place, you already know. So knowing that these things affect us and affect our safety, especially y'all with kids, how can you get mad at that? Like, I promise y'all, and listen, I'm in the middle. I don't rock with either party. But if Biden or Kamala was doing this, y'all would be happy. Mm-hmm. Real talk. Like, I know the little young YNs is out of control, man. And y'all sick of them too.
Ride through the city, feeling more safe than I ever felt. I really just be trolling. But no funny. It has been quiet like for 2 days. That's good.
Do you not understand that this is what the residents want? I'm not talking about the bougie upper echelons, bougie blacks. I'm talking about the everyday grandmas that have to deal with these homeless people peeing and pooping on their steps, and then they have to clean it up. They don't feel safe when they walk into their neighborhood. The gangs and the dope boys are just standing around the corner, you know, like, do you not understand this is what they want? I remember working with a community leader and somebody had just gotten shot. This is like 5 years ago. And I remember her praying and she said, Crystal, we're gonna have to invoke the National Guard. And that was so foreign to me. Now I understand the shit. These people are helpless.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why they're happy that they finally get their city back a little bit. And I like the comparing and contrasting. I like that a lot because, you know, by the way, let me just show you something. I got to find this. I'll just make sure that, yeah, here it is. Before I put watch this. Check this out. Washington Free Beacon. On August 5th, the same day Donald Trump threatened a federal law enforcement takeover in D.C., the city quietly settled the lawsuit from a former police sergeant who accused her superiors of deliberately misclassifying certain offenses to make the crime stats look low. Court records show. So they quietly settled that. And we've talked about this before, actually. We've gone to the point where, you know, we say, okay, all right. People say, oh, it's a 30-year low. It's like people are dropping like flies on the streets of D.C. That's a 30-year low. Look how great a job we're doing. Oh, this lawlessness is really working out great. I started to laugh because people are dead because of these stupid decisions. But the fact of the matter is, they weren't low because they were lying about the crime stats. They were lying about the crime stats. Okay? Yeah. And they're all along with that. They're really with that. They want you to think everything's just fine. They're lying to you. They are lying to you. Oh, man. So the big story that happened on Friday after we, did our last podcast was another tale of corruption. It is another big one from the corruption files. And I took you locally in these stories at first because I think they're more relatable. And now we go big. Now we go to the macro situation. Now we go to what was declassified last week in DC. And check this out. So the Clinton Foundation meeting timeline. Let me just tell you briefly what's going on here. This is a timeline of when the DOJ, the Department of Justice, started an investigation into the Bill and Hillary Clinton Foundation. And this was when, of course, Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State during the Obama administration. And I don't know if you can hear, there's an Army helicopter going over. Woo! Anyway, friendly. No fast roping down to my house. So anyway, 2015 is when they first start this investigation into the claims made, or, well, what Hillary Clinton was doing. She was clearly making deals, kicking butt, taking names, saying, hey, you better deal with me because I'm going to be president. I'm running and I'm going to win. And that's what was going on. So they were informed, the FBI was, and the DOJ, by the information uncovered in the book called Clinton Cash by Peter Schweitzer. So Peter Schweitzer's gone on to establish a foundation and to just do nothing but get down into the data and start finding corruption. So he found plenty, and the DOJ took over, took his book. They debriefed him. He became an informant, if you will, and he became an asset of the FBI and gave them information. He says he's done it before because, they come here and they want more information. Well, I just wrote a book about it. It's not like it's no skin off my nose that I give you what I have. So it goes on and on and on. And this opens in 4 different cities, including a city in Nigeria, if you can believe that, because apparently a Nigerian prince or some captain of industry there had been promised by Hillary Clinton that he would get favoritism when she was president and before the State Department and everything if she gave the Clinton Foundation money. Okay? The Clinton Foundation money. What a grifter. I mean, grifting actually is nice. It's a nice word to apply to her. Indeed, this is grifting on a scale so large that it is really hard. It's almost to Biden-esque proportions. Okay, so these folks have now started these investigations in Little Rock and Nigeria and elsewhere. And they're all, the main justice finds out what's going on. They present the information to him and they go, ooh, humana. We are in the primary phase of the 2016 election. We probably should wait until after the election. So they get them. It's just in 121. Primaries aren't even going on yet, right? I mean, early in the primaries. And they have, as we all know, because somebody exfilled the emails from the DNC and the DCCC, and they found out, oh, you're not going to believe this, Hillary Clinton is actually getting all kinds of favors from the DNC. And she was running against Bernie Sanders. Sure, we don't want that commie in there, but I mean, don't you let people select your own people? Select the candidate in your own primary? Well, as we found out in 2024, no. No. And we found out in 2016 when we found the Debbie Wasserman Schultz emails saying, yeah, we really have to help out Hillary here, So that's what happened there. And then what we have is information. This is a timeline supplied by the DOJ at the time. So this is a contemporaneous timeline, or a retrospective, I suppose, timeline. And we find out that the acting attorney general said, or Sally Yates was high up on the food chain in the DOJ, and eventually she became acting, I think, during the Trump transition and stuff like that. Well, she was busy just selling that guy out like nobody's business. And indeed, what she also did was she said, shut this thing down. Loretta Lynch, the attorney general, remember that whole meeting on the tarmac in Phoenix where they were just talking about golf, grandkids, and whatever? Yeah, no, that was all. You find out from this document that you're looking at right now that this was obviously a debrief to Bill Clinton about how much trouble his wife was in. They had the goods on the Clinton Foundation. Bill was getting like $500,000 for speaking fees. I mean, they all kinds of stuff. Remember all that stuff that they did in Haiti? They got all their friends just contracts, and of course the Haitians. Screw the Haitians. We don't want to help those guys. We just want our friends to get fat and happy, and that's what happened. So they stopped the investigation into Hillary Clinton's obvious shakedowns of people on behalf of the Clinton Foundation when she should have been doing things as the Secretary of State. Okay? So she was incredibly conflicted and over and over and over. So they actually tried to kick it over to the Eastern District of New York, the Southern District of New York. It went back and forth and back and forth. And they go, yeah, no, we're not going to, homie, don't play that. We're not going to do that. That's what we're not going to do that. We're not going to decline to prosecute her. You're not going to get a letter of declination from us. That's what this says here. And we're not doing that. And so everybody's going, ooh, hot potato, hot potato. We don't want it. We don't want it. And they kicked it after we got to wait till after the election. Yeah, we got to wait till after the election. And then they just spiked it. And you know who spiked it? The ultimate Taylor Swift lover. And that would be James Comey, who on July 5th came out and said, 2016, said, yeah, she did a whole bunch of stuff wrong, but nobody would ever prosecute her. They prosecuted Donald Trump for accounting errors and made them into quote unquote felonies that were already time limited. I mean, they'll do anything, but no, we couldn't possibly, that Nigerian prince situation. You just got to laugh. You just got to laugh. So 8/23 of this year. Yeah. So read the timeline if you're so inclined. You'll find out things you never thought you'd ever know. Now, that's not the only thing that we find out about Hillary's bad habits and her greed. Indeed, what we find out here, is this the one I want? Yes. And it's the House, it's HIPSI, it's the Intelligence Committee findings that were hidden in the CIA. Okay? So they're hiding them in the CIA, and they find them during the Trump, this Trump 47. And here are a few things that Vladimir Putin noted that about Hillary Clinton, because obviously they were going after the DOJ was going after Hillary, and they declined to do anything, right? They go, oh, we're not touching this. No way, Jose. She's going to be president. We're going to get screwed if we bring anything against her. But at the same time, notwithstanding the fact they had all this evidence against her, they had to make stuff up from Russian spies from Hillary's campaign to go after Donald Trump. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. That's how corrupt it is. They upset the body politic in ways I've never seen or read about in my life with this Russia collusion claptrap. People don't trust their government anymore. There are a variety of reasons for that, this being one of them. So now what we find out, the Russians, they had all this Oppo research, the compromise on Hill, and they knew that Hillary was going to win because obviously that's what the polls said. And in this document, they also have the polling numbers. And it's actually pretty funny. Now, I guess I could just go back on page 18. Here are the polling numbers. Hillary's going to win. Here we go. She's still going to win. And then she loses. So everybody thought she was going to win. I thought she was going to win. I mean, I was glad Trump won. I was like, this guy is crazy. But but I got over that fast when I realized, yeah, he's crazy like a fox. Okay, fine. So this is what they find out about Hillary and what has been hidden in the CIA vault for all these years. The Russians were hanging on to that Oppo research for after she was elected, so they could trot out the fact that the state of Hillary's health was extraordinarily alarming, that she was on tranquilizers and having her health had serious negative impact on her election prospects. This is what they thought, right? The SVR, that's like the former KGB, possessed DNC communications that Clinton was suffering from intensified psycho-emotional problems, including uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness. You heard on this program a couple weeks back, Tulsi Gabbard saying that very thing. And here's something else she said. And I'm not going to play it for you because we're running up against the clock. But, I didn't know that she had a heart issue and type 2 diabetes, deep vein thrombosis. We did know that one because that's how she had to wear those crazy glasses during the Benghazi hearings where she lied through her teeth. What? How does that happen? Whatever she said. The complete dismissal of the feelings and hopes and dreams of other people during that whole thing. They were selling weapons, by the way, to Al Qaeda in that deal. That's what her people were doing in Benghazi. Yeah, that's what they were doing, supplying weapons. And that was an Al-Qaeda attack. That was an attack. It was on September 11th, okay? This thing on? Apparently the people at the State Department were going, whoa, well, I don't even know what day it is. So here we go. Here's the last thing I wanted to mention here on this case. Underscoring it because I was trying to find it for a story the other day. I thought, you know what? You need to find this. You need to know this. Clinton's potential vulnerability to ethical issues, which would highlighted the potential value of leaking the details of the secret meetings offering State Department patronage to religious groups in exchange for support to the Clinton campaign. She offered, okay, let me say that again, because it's pretty small writing. Clinton's potential vulnerability to ethical issues were going to be trotted out after she won. This was highlighted, the potential value of leaking the details of the secret meeting offering State Department patronage to religious groups in exchange for support to the Clinton campaign. The CIA redacted source details of this report, however, so it is difficult to assess the value of this intelligence without clarifying the source access. What this all says, in a nutshell, is the Russians weren't trying to pump up Trump. They just knew she was going to win, and they just were getting compromise on her. If they had compromise that Hillary Clinton could get her hands on, she wouldn't have had to make it up, which is what she did against Donald Trump. I mean, hookers, jumping on beds, and all that rot. It's just it's disgusting. There's so much disgust I have for these people. They have robbed us of our joy, our ability to enjoy our country. They have robbed us of peace. They have done that, and in replacement, they have given us chaos. From the decisions on high, from the decisions down low. There are corrupt human beings out there. We're all corrupt. We're all bad. Bad. We're not perfect. Some people are better than others, though. She's terrible. She's a horrible human being. I'm so grateful that she did not get elected in 2016. Can you imagine how she would have sold that office? People complain about Trump. Oh, he's got some coin or this and that, all these things he had before he became president, whatever. I mean, when you're going out there making a rare earth deal with another country, which will redound to the benefit of Americans, that's not selling your job. That's helping the country. And she didn't do that. She helped herself. And then she sold us out. And so did Joe Biden. He went out with his hand out to all these same people. I mean, the Ukraine, Russia, China, Azerbaijan, Romania. They made millions. He and the Biden family made millions through Hunter Biden, their bag man, to do that. I know some people said, well, what about Jared Kushner? Well, what about Jared Kushner? Jared Kushner's not in government. He made deals, I guess, with the Saudis. Can you imagine that? A really conservative Jewish guy, not a conservative politically guy, but a conservative Jew, going over and making a deal with Saudi Arabia and the Abraham Accords? It's astonishing. And he continues that relationship, I understand. And it doesn't look great, but he's not compromised because he's not in government. She was in government selling her job, selling her office for favors, for money to get 2016 campaign donations. And we don't have to guess about that. We know. And here we are. I didn't even get to fire aid. There's another tale of corruption. We'll get to that. I'll probably do that on Thursday. Again, we have an update on fire aid. But one thing that I will, if I get an opportunity to show you, is the funny thing. Sort of capping off, why is this allowed to happen? Why is this allowed to happen? Why do people side with evil instead of good? Why do they side with chaos instead of rule of law and order? Why do they do that? Well, Senator John Kennedy, as he does, has the right answer.
How did we get here? Well, we stopped teaching our kids about the Cold War and Stalin's death camps in communist Soviet Union, and the fact that Mao and communist China killed tens of millions of people. But also because the mainstream wing of the party is scared to death of the loon wing. They won't speak up, and they don't stand for anything anymore. All they stand for is whatever is against whatever President Trump stands for. That's why we find ourselves in the extraordinary position of mainstream Democrats have now come out firmly and passionately in favor of crime in Washington, D.C.
I mean, isn't that true? In Washington, D.C., same thing. You know, as we were watching Senator Kennedy there, just got this missive. And the missive is via Tulsi Gabbard again, who's doing good stuff. She has just revoked, you know, it's the find out portion of our equation now. She has just revoked the security clearances of 37 current and former intelligence professionals who have abused the public trust by politicizing and manipulating intelligence. Some of these names, I don't know some of these people. So she just removed them. My guess is that they're on that list of 51 intelligence experts who signed that letter saying, hey, you know, that Hunter Biden laptop thing, well, that looks like Russian disinformation, when in fact it was Hillary Clinton's people who had to go to. I mean, she had to, well, she wasn't in the race then, but she had to make stuff up. I mean, you just got, well, it was Russian disinformation. Couldn't have been that. I mean, honestly, when we've gone through that in depth as well. I don't recognize some of these names, but look it up and I'll tweet it out too. Okay, so until Thursday, have a peaceful day. Have a joyful day. And don't let anybody steal it from you. And get these bastards back, as far as I'm concerned. See you on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Adult in the Room podcast. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate every single person who tunes in every week to listen and watch this program. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, live streaming on Rumble, and then on every other podcast platform shortly thereafter when we can port it over and get it over there as soon as we can. All the shows can be found at victoriataft.com, where the censorship regime has been banned by me. Follow me on social media at these names: Victoria Taft, the Adult in the Room podcast, and the Victoria Taft Show. Send media inquiries, or any others for that matter, to victoria@victoriataft.com. And here's a big ask. Would you please subscribe, share, like, comment, recommend, and give this program a 5-star rating where you can? We really appreciate it. We do not take that for granted either. Follow my work at, you guessed it, victoriataft.com. PJ Media, I write tons over there. Flamingo Audiobooks, and of course the radio. I don't do this alone. This show is produced and engineered by Overall Media. 1A Cast is responsible for some of the Adult in the Room podcast's imaging. Logo design by Hageman Creative. The Adult in the Room podcast is produced at Flamingo Road Studios. All rights reserved.